This podcast was recorded on February 11th, 2017.
17. My name is Michael.
What's good? I'm Dominic.
And my name's Justin, and just a quick disclaimer. The views and opinions I express here are mine and mine alone, and they do not reflect the stance of the United States Air Force or its affiliates.
All right, so this here you are listening to Grab 'em by the Policy.
The official podcast of the Independent Interference.
The Independent Interference is a small website and podcast run primarily by me, Justin, and Dominic. We address topics all across the political spectrum and appreciate input from anyone of any stance or viewpoint. A quick warning, neither the website nor this podcast avoids sensitive topics. We will curse and use language or address certain stances that may offend you. You have been warned, and anything that comes thereafter is yours.
Hey guys, welcome to the third episode of Grab 'em by the Policy. My name is Michael.
I'm Dominic.
And I'm Justin.
And you've already heard the disclaimer 1,000 times before. It applies here too. So today we're going to talk about the racial divide going on in America, which seems to be sort of, perpetuated by the left in order to, secure votes is really what seems to be the only motive behind it. Is let's make these people hate the other side. That way the only person they feel safe with is us. It's sort of the thing you're saying, oh, well, all white people are racist, all men are misogynistic, blah, blah, blah. When you're doing that, you're trying to sort of undermine their, I guess, legitimacy, their feelings as a person by saying, look, he's clearly a racist purely because he's Republican. Therefore, minorities feel safe or safer flocking to the Democrats. But Trump started to defeat that with his amount of support from minorities and women in the 2016 election.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know if he actually got that much support from the minorities, from, Hispanics, African Americans. Huh?
Didn't he get Michigan?
Did he? Maybe.
I can check that. Well, it's not even. He didn't get as much as
Detroit.
Hillary Clinton, but
Obviously.
it was way more than any Republican candidate since like the 1920s. Like McCain and Romney both got about 1% of the black vote, which is, I mean, and that's generally been the norm. Is like the minorities, you get about 1%. You get a lot of, you do get a lot of the rich old white people going on, but Trump was sort of able to turn that around for his sake.
Which was probably the only reason he won.
I don't think it's more or less that he was like campaigning well. I think it's because there were enough educated individuals that knew Hillary Clinton was a criminal.
It was that, and I think even if his campaigning wasn't the greatest, people are starting to see how the left is operating.
Well, I mean, it's the left's campaigning working for him.
They're seeing the fact that their only argument is, oh, you're a racist, or oh, you're misogynistic. Like, people are starting to see that, and they're like, why would I vote for someone like that? When you call all white people misogynistic or racist and all men misogynistic, you are, I've said it before, you're going to lose part of that vote. That only makes sense. I'm not going to vote for someone whose whole fucking campaign is based on you're a terrible person and need to change and feel sorry for the fact that you're white. Like, no, why would anyone do that?
Yeah.
Of course, obviously there's some people that still do, but just that, I think, is where they lose a lot of their vote, is by furthering this divide. It doesn't take a genius to see that they're doing that. So even if they're not like really supportive of Republicans,
See, but I don't even think it's just with it's not just with the election. Like, yeah, we can sit here and we can talk about the election all fucking day till our fucking heads turn blue, but it's not about that. Like, you also have things like BuzzFeed, things like you scroll through Facebook and all you see is like, oh, so-and-so gets called racist, or so-and-so said this, he's such a fucking pig. You know what I mean? That's the real problem.
Yeah, and I mean,
whether that's funded by the left or not, that's the real problem. At this point, I think that there's a lot of places like that aren't even funded by people on the left, or like the hard left. I just think that that's what people have become accustomed to being popular, especially
Yeah,
in California,
and I
especially
think
in LA.
yeah,
All you have to do is put Trump is a racist or Trump says this, and then boom, you got millions of clicks right there.
right.
Yeah.
I think first of all, it's that idea of clickbait. Yes, people want to know who's racist or who's sexist or whatever. But I think overall, it all sort of goes upward into an idea of politics. Like there is no reason to further the
Well, it
divide
does.
other than for a political reason, unless you just want to watch the world burn and watch everyone fight each other until they die, which
Yeah.
that doesn't really serve anyone's motives. So I think even if they're not funded or sort of contracted by the left, their goal is to fit in with that mission. Which
Yeah.
that's sort of almost scarier is that there are organizations like BuzzFeed, like MTV, Vox, Mike, whatever you want to look at, who do it of their own volition. Like they're not receiving money from it. All they're receiving is the knowledge of, hey,
But they are.
but even if they weren't, right? Let's say hypothetically, because there are some out there, we just said it, that are doing it that probably aren't receiving any funding. So the fact that
Mhm.
their only
Yeah,
motive
but
is to
it's all to build up to the money.
right. I
That's
mean,
where they're getting the
maybe,
money.
or maybe they feel morally, positive about doing something like that.
Nobody feels morally positive doing something
About
like that.
supporting if it's supporting their political agenda, I'm
It
sure they
doesn't
would.
even
If
morals aren't even
I'm
a
sorry,
thing anymore.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
No
yeah.
white person feels morally okay with white shaming themselves. Okay, and
Sure there are.
not to turn this into like a complete like only black people do this or only Mexicans do it, because white people do it too. But I don't know how to put it. Almost, it's just like
But I think
morally, I feel like it's taught that it's okay for black people, for Mexican people, people of different colors to hate white people.
it is. It totally is.
Yeah.
But
Maybe not
but
directly, but
white
it's
people
there.
but white people want to say, "Hey, I'm proud of being white" or something like that. The whole fucking place flips their shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of us have experienced it. I'm sure Justin have too, where it's like
Hmm.
we can sit there and everyone will talk about like their nation of origin or whatever. And even if I try and say I'm proud to be an American, even is like frowned upon. It's like, oh, Americans had slaves. Like, yeah, so did like Kenya, so did every part of Africa. A large portion of the Middle East still has some form of slavery. Like, I can be
Well, I mean, everywhere
proud.
has a form of slavery.
What?
Everyone
Some
has a form of
Whether
slavery.
it's sex trafficking or actual
Yeah,
labor slavery, that's what I'm saying. There's some
because if you
form
look at that, that's still in America too.
in certain forms, but not nearly as bad. Like it's not like a public trade as it is in the Middle East and parts of Africa.
Yeah,
But I think, I mean, that goes into sort of when you talk about it being taught that it's okay. That goes into the education part of it. Is like you look at schools, you look at man, especially college campuses nowadays, especially in California. It's like even if you look through the history, it's white people are so bad. This is something positive that, some American politician did, but he did it on the backs of these people. Look at how bad he is in the long run because of what he did. And then you want to talk about you're painting Malcolm X in a positive light, which there are positive
which
things that came from him. But if you want to compare him to Martin
but he
Luther
called for
King,
violence.
yeah, I would say Martin Luther King Jr. takes the cake 10 times out of 10 against
Yeah,
fucking Malcolm X. But they're both
Because he went about it correctly.
Yeah, but they're
yeah.
being held to the same light in the education
Well,
system, which
because
is like
they didn't necessarily execute the same. I don't know. They didn't execute their ideas the same way, but they had this like almost the same ideas.
right, but
Not
and that's the
not
thing
like to the
is,
point to where kill all white people, but like
That's where
equality.
Malcolm X was, damn near.
Yeah, I know.
but
Yeah.
they're not acknowledging that, which I think that's the bad thing. Is it's
Well, yeah.
almost
No
subconscious
one
is when
wants
you
to look at the
say,
bad sides of their argument. No one wants to
yeah,
look at the bad or acknowledge the bad sides of whatever they stand for.
yeah, and it's just I've seen probably like 3 or 4 videos now
Well, I think that
of-
might be because people don't see the bad side. It's not that they don't want to acknowledge it. A lot of
I
people
think
don't see it.
I think it's also
Yeah,
they
because
don't
no one
acknowledge it.
acknowledges
Mike, do
it.
you see the bad side in what you believe in?
Yeah,
What is
I
it?
mean, well, what particular one? I mean, I could say that
Just your political beliefs. What do you believe the bad side could be? Any belief.
I think if you want to look at, let's say, my political with economy, I think what could happen is you could centralize trade too much into America, and if there were to be a disaster or there were to be some level of hardship, it could drop off. I think another one is I'm sort of on the fence when it comes to the idea of welfare, is without a structure in place to get the people who need welfare what they deserve, then you end up, cutting funding from people who need it because you have people that don't need it that are grabbing from it. There's positives and negatives to every side. If you want to stop the refugee crisis, refugees coming in from Syria, which we've, talked
Tried to
about,
stop.
yeah, trying to. If you stop that, yes, obviously, until the other areas that can take them, i.e., the 5 or whatever refugee camps in the rest of the Middle East that are almost empty, until those people start getting their act together and helping them, then yeah, people are going to die. And that sucks. And I can acknowledge that. But Trump ran on the policy of America first for a reason. He's the president of the United States of America. America is his first and foremost duty. But I can see how that is perceived as negative, and I can see how that can be negative.
All right.
So it's
I just wanted to make sure that you see the bad side of your argument, because I think
yeah,
that's the problem with. I mean, I've
that's the problem
mentioned
with
this
people
before. I live
across the
right next to
spectrum.
fucking Cal, dude.
Yeah,
It's tough to talk to people about politics in any light, because it just turns into them stomping around. If they get proven wrong, they stomp around and they cry about it. And if they don't, if say just whatever, they have a good argument or whatever, they sit there and they go, haha, I'm right 100% of the time. Fuck you. I never have to listen to your opinion, blah, blah, blah.
there's a
It's
Mhm.
just
confirmation bias to it. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know, man. It just doesn't work.
yeah. I mean, and then she talked about the education system pulling sort of all those strings. Trump said he would. He was. He mentioned briefly after the UC Berkeley riots over Milo Yiannopoulos, which ended up being completely terrible and utterly disgusting, and the fact that the media wouldn't put it in a negative light and seem to justify it, that is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, you had fucking Nessa from Hot 97 in New York. She's a fucking interviewer. She was talking about, oh yeah, that's fucking great.
Yeah.
Go you guys. We're not gonna let someone speak like this. Like
Yeah, we're not going to
that
allow free speech,
that
literally.
that bugs the flying fuck out of me when someone says
It's,
we're not gonna let someone speak like this. Why the fuck not?
I mean,
If you don't
it's
believe in it, don't fucking listen to it. Doesn't
it's
matter.
pretty simple. I mean, it's the
But
same
they have the
thing.
right to say it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when Richard Spencer got punched on the street, like people are like, oh yeah, he's a Nazi, punch him. Like, and you still shouldn't punch him. Like, it is illegal. Like it's in the law that the pussy anti-fascist was lucky
I
he was
think
wearing a mask like the rest of them. But the
I
thing is,
think
his
that
freedom of speech is still protected. You can
the
disagree
real
with him all goddamn day. That doesn't change the fact that he has the legal right to talk about, his sort of passive, purification technique or whatever the shit he's talking about is.
the
It's
real problem here is the hypocrisy, because it's let everyone believe in what they believe in and don't make a big fuss about it, right? That's
yeah.
basically what everyone preaches in at least my area. The majority of the left preaches let people believe what they believe, don't
But what
be
they
mean
really
about it.
preach is let people
But
believe
then
what we
when you
believe, or you're
have
not allowed to talk.
yeah, when you have someone on the right side and they want to say something that might be out of line to the left, boom, get punched in the face, bitch.
Mhm.
It's that, and I mean, even then, you want to talk about believe what you want to believe. They're all about. I think I made a Facebook post about this the other day. They're all about black empowerment until you're a black person that's voting Republican. Then all of a sudden, it's you're an Uncle Tom, all that crap. It's like you understand that's not black empowerment. That's essentially mental slavery is like the only way you're allowed to use free speech. The only way you're allowed to be like this blossoming member of society is if you do it on our side. It's and that is what they're doing is a form of
And it
slavery.
hasn't worked for the majority of black people on that side for how long?
Yeah, we could want to look at Detroit again.
Yeah.
The fact that they've had Democratic governors and mayors of Detroit and all those people for
Want to
years and
look
years
at
and years.
Chicago?
Yeah, and those areas are still they're shit. They're in the garbage, and it's the sad thing is that some people don't realize it, and I think that's another the tactic is if we can keep them thinking that they need us, then they will continue to vote for us. But I
Which
think
is
people are
why you say
starting-
everyone is a racist.
right.
Yeah.
If they're afraid of the rest of the world, the only people they can side with is us. We're going to be like their big protector. And then obviously, if you're feeding them welfare and you have all these people who are living off of welfare checks for however long of their life, they know that they need you. You are forcing them to become codependent to you as a
Dude, it
system of
reminds
government.
me somewhat of like the Renaissance when you look at that time with the church, how they would be like,
Yes.
"Hey, give us money or you're going to hell."
Yeah,
Or like,
essentially, give us votes or
yeah,
you're going to die to the racists. Essentially the same
that's
thing.
that's basically what it is because
Yeah.
it might not be a religious level, but people really do feel terrible about themselves.
But it's
Mhm.
Like
entrapping people.
you call someone like talk. We should have brought Oso on this topic, but you
Yeah.
talk about it and it's just like think about Oso.
Yeah.
So he's a Mexican American, right?
Correct.
So he has a bunch of people around him that are Mexican Americans, and he says one thing that's out of line, and they go, "Oh,
A
you're a
race
fucking
trader or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're a fucking race traitor." And it's like, how do you think that makes him feel? He feels so outcast at that point that he might even take it back just to be like, and I know Oso probably wouldn't, but another
But
person
people
might take it
could.
back just to be like, hey, I'm already like maybe not the most popular kid.
They're
I
going to
don't want to
silence
have
their
this
own
opinion.
beliefs.
Exactly. I don't want to have this opinion because that'll like tank my social status. And I
Mhm.
don't want that. Fuck politics. I don't need politics. Like I'll just vote how everyone else votes and then that's it. And that's the problem.
Yeah, you get that sort of group think together, and it ends up being way more bad than good. Is when you have a ton of people thinking the exact same way, you have the echo chamber, and yeah, you're going to end up with people who aren't developing their ideas. And that's the criticism with the college system not allowing people from the right to speak. Is you know what you're doing? You're only feeding them leftist ideas over and over and over and over, whether it be in the classroom or in events put on by clubs. And people are not going to be able to think openly. They're not going to be able to consider opposing sides of view. And that's the whole point of college, is to be able to,
It's to expand your mind.
yeah, is to receive views that, sort of challenge your own. But when you do that, you're not going to get that. What you're going to get is the same shit over and over and over. And then you're
Even
going to
if you
go into the real
vote a
world and you're
part
going
of
to be
yours.
brainwashed.
See, but that's the thing. It doesn't really affect people in the real world. It's not as
Prevalent.
prevalent, yeah.
Well,
It's
it will, but in different forms, because you'll get that same method of thinking, and even if it's not in a political sense, if you think that way in another sense of of a job or career, it will end up being negative. Yes, the political half of it won't be as widely applicable, but in sort of everyday life, in that sort of type of thought process, it very much will be. So not only are you screwing them politically, you're screwing them in their sort of reasoning overall.
yeah.
So
It's just it's a shitty situation, man. And
it
it's
is.
gonna especially because like we were talking about the feds, right? Going into Chicago. I think that was
Correct.
on
Yeah.
an upcoming episode that will be uploaded today. So we were talking about that. And then we had to talk about the possibility of a civil war sparking up. Because
Yeah.
if the feds went into Chicago, everyone would say racist, 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 racist. Right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
sick. That's fucking sick. If something needs to be taken care of, we can't even take care of it because people want to scream racist. The fact of the matter is,
So I think that's
Chicago,
long
where all the
overdue.
killings are happening, is majority black.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like
and I'm sure if it were
that's the
majority
fact of the
white,
matter.
no one would care.
Exactly. If it
Sure,
was
if it was
majority white, everyone would just be like, "Oh, it's just a bunch of fucking
Yeah,
KKK and racists." Like,
yeah,
they'll
I'm
sweep
sure
them
if it were
out.
like a really big trailer park that had like a lot of meth going around, a lot of shootings, and you send in the feds, be like, good, they need to get their doors kicked down, those white trash. And
Yeah.
you're all like, yeah, I would agree with that. But I can say a similar thing to the black community in Chicago is like, yeah, they're not really full functioning members of society. It's a lot of criminal activity. It's a lot of terrible illegal things that are happening. Therefore, it needs to be intervened.
But you do that, you're a fucking
Yeah, but I
racist
do
and a
that, and I'm a
bigot
racist. Yeah,
and fucking everything else in the book, and it's sick. It's honestly sick, and people fall for this shit every single day.
people
Everyone is
perpetuate it every
scared to
day.
have their own voice and their own opinion.
Well, the thing is, you
Yeah.
can't be, and that was the silent majority with Trump, is that people were scared to support him in public, but the moment they got behind that curtain at the voting booth, they voted how they really felt, and that's why he
See, but
won.
Hillary still won the popular, and that's a problem.
Because of California.
That's a problem.
Literally, if
That's a problem.
that's not a
Doesn't matter
problem.
where it was. It's a problem.
How is that a problem? You mean like
People,
societally or in the structure
yes,
of voting? Oh, okay.
it's a problem
Yeah.
that these views are still overlooking people who want to use their own mind. I think that also leads into like a two-party system too, though,
But that's
because it's
also
like
why we
you only have
have the electoral colleges. If there were to be a candidate who is preaching to ideas that only resonated with a certain part of the country, i.e., Hillary Clinton and sort of the coastal
California.
areas, particularly California and certain metropolitan areas, if you were to preach to only those areas, the electoral college is in place so that the rest of the country has a voice. That's why
Mhm.
if you look at the
See,
electoral
but
map
that's
of
also the point. Like
2016,
you have to target those areas, just like Trump had to target those areas, even though he completely got obliterated by
well,
California
you
because of the
can't
fact that they were so
you
pro
can't
Hillary.
target them though. You can pay attention to them, but it requires you to also pay attention to the rest of the country.
See, but
If
I
you
don't
didn't have to
think
do
that
that,
in the case of the left side, you don't have to do that.
right?
Hillary can
I'm
be
talking about
perfectly
overall.
fine.
Yeah,
Hillary could have been perfectly fine going to California, what is it? Like Oregon, Washington,
right, and
um,
that's where she won. California, Oregon,
and
and Washington being two of the biggest ones.
but see, that's the thing is she can sit there and do that, and she still has the majority vote.
Because of those metropolitan areas. That's what I'm saying. That's why we have the electoral college in place, is so that the majority vote doesn't decide the president.
I know.
Because
I'm
or
just
else
saying, like,
all you would have to do is campaign those areas, and we would have generation after generation. We'd have a dynasty of Democratic presidents.
Yeah.
And that would be what would happen until the end of time, or until we put the electoral college back in place. Is you'd have Democrat after Democrat after Democrat. Not saying there's never been a good Democratic president, but every Republican idea gets silenced. It would get progressively further and further left until, whatever point of socialism, communism, whatever, and people would not, and then again, the whole center of the country would not be happy. It'd be terrible. I think there's that, and honestly, I think the left is currently, and it's only been a few months, ruining their chances of winning in 2020.
Yeah.
Because
no,
people, you can turn on your news and you can see,
no,
oh, look at it. Yes, there's so many people now that are
no.
switching to the left. Joe Rubin already switched to Republican. He used to be a diehard Democrat, and then he saw how pathetic the progressive system was, and he
No,
flipped over. Yes,
no. I'm sorry.
yes.
No.
If
There's
there's so
still
many people
uneducated,
that have.
stupid people in this world,
Yes, and
and they
you
still
know
vote.
what? The educated people who supported the left are coming to the right because they see that their party is tainted by rioters and crybabies, and they no longer want to support that. There can be as many uneducated, brainwashed people as
I'm
possible.
sorry, they're not ruining their chances for 2020.
Yes, they are. Look at the polls regarding it. Trump's gaining more popularity because of the fact that you turn on the news any day and you'll see a riot or a stupid crybaby protest.
I mean, I
They
don't
are
really give a shit
ruining
about
their
that,
own
but
image.
They're
but
ruining their
who is doing it?
reputation.
Who's
The
doing it?
left.
Exactly, but where is the left? In huge states.
correct. That's why, again, we have the Electoral College, and even in those huge states, people are flipping over.
I
Do you know
understand that.
the
I
University
understand
of
that, but
Mizzou
it just
lost over
with
one
these people, it just goes in one ear out the other.
for those people. There are still logical people on the left that are switching over.
Then
That's what I'm
you have to
saying.
look at the illegal immigrants who are
Who aren't
scared
gonna
to vote
vote,
right.
who can't vote.
I'm sorry, not illegal. The immigrants who are scared to vote right because they
Okay.
think, for whatever reason, that their whole family's getting deported, even though they're here legally. Because that's what people push
No,
into them.
I actually there's a decent amount of legal immigrant families that voted Trump purely because they despise the idea of illegal immigrants. When you busted your balls for however many years to get to this country, then you find out some other dude got here in like 2 months just because he knew another dude that knew where a fucking tunnel was. Yeah, you're gonna hate that person. That's just because they stole the same opportunity that you had.
Yeah, what
And if
happens when that
anything, their
person's your
opportunity is
uncle?
better.
You still gonna hate him?
I know people that do. Yeah, I know people that say, even though he's family, he can still be family back in Mexico, but he's not paying taxes. My mom, my dad broke their ass over however many years to get me and my sister here.
Bullshit.
The fact that he knew, no, it happens. I
I'm
mean,
sure
I
it
don't
happens, but
know
that's
you
not
have
the
so
majority of what
little.
happens.
It doesn't need to be the majority. Every little bit counts. Clearly doesn't need to be the majority because Clinton won the popular vote and still lost. But the popular vote for Clinton is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller, or not Clinton, but the Democratic Party in general, until round 2 comes along. And if they continue to riot, if they continue to throw things and light fires, if they continue to back anti-fascists who are in reality actual fascists, then 2020 comes around, they're going to lose again. And they need to turn it around, and they need to get, if they want to stand a chance, they need to stop with that crap, stop with what is literal hate, and they need to start focusing more on a logical perspective. They need to start approaching it better. They need to stop giving publicity and backing people who are destroying buildings and communities. And I'm sure their chances would go up. But as of right now, they're progressively, pun intended, ruining it.
I don't know, man.
And it sucks because
I think that the left will switch up things before 2020
if
because
they
they're gonna
do,
realize
they have
that
a
that's
better
their
chance.
only fighting chance.
Yeah.
So they're gonna switch things up. I think that
But would they be able to rein
it's
in?
going to go into another little, I don't want to say niche, but it's going to go into a different area. Like how everyone right now is a racist, right?
Yeah.
They're going to fuel something else when this goes out. This
Then people
this
will
is
still
just a
realize
flame that's going to
people
burn
aren't
out.
stupid.
People aren't going to be called racist at the amount of times people are being called racist today as in 2020. They're not going to be called racist.
Whatever radical
They're
idea
gonna-
it is, it's not going to happen suddenly, and even if it did, people would realize it.
I don't think so. I think people are
And
too fucking stupid to.
no,
I agree.
I think that there are definitely that's why you have the educated left, the classical liberals are now supporting Republican ideas.
Okay, and then what happens when the educated liberals who are supporting Republican ideas are told that there's a new thing going on, and then they go, "Oh, well, I need to go support that,"
if it
and
still
then they
falls
go right back over.
still falls under progressivism, the vast majority of them won't.
Okay, I don't
Because
think so.
progressivism is a listen to Sargon of Akkad, listen to Joe Rubin, not Joe Rubin, Dave Rubin, and listen to them, listen to there's 2 other classical liberal channels that I can't think of right now. These are people who their whole thing is they believe in the idea of freedom of speech and free flowing education and those sort of rights that are protected in our First Amendment. That's what classical liberalism focuses on. They see the fact that the left currently is not aligned with that, and therefore they support Republicans. Whatever excuse they use to infringe upon free speech doesn't matter. What matters is they're infringing upon free speech.
Okay, so what happens when they don't infringe upon free speech and they infringe upon a different right?
Which right? I mean, whatever it is.
I'm just saying any freedom, because look,
It doesn't take a genius to figure out that they're doing
they
it.
went from guns to free speech.
And they're still going for
Right?
guns, but they can't do it anymore
They're
because
still going for guns, but they went from guns to free speech, correct?
Yeah.
So what happens with the next thing? People backed
still
the guns.
stood up after guns.
A lot of people backed the guns, Mike.
Yeah, and a lot of people back free speech. But again, those are the
But
people
a lot of people backed the guns.
Exactly,
Like-
and a lot of people backed the anti-free speech thing too. A lot of people still are, but it's those lot of people
There's
are
no
the dumb
anti-free
ones.
speech. There's no anti-free speech
They're called
laws
the
put
they're
in
called the anti-fascists and they're called the progressives.
Those are
That's
laws, Mike.
no, not laws, but
Then shut the fuck up and listen.
safe
There's
spaces
no
are laws.
anti-free
Safe
speech
spaces are
laws.
laws.
There's no anti-free speech
Those are
laws,
anti-free speech laws.
but they're dumbing down guns like it's fucking nothing.
Not for long.
What do you mean not for long? When's that going to change?
There's so many petitions out right now. A lot of them have already hit their White House cap for Trump to look at to repeal certain the antiquated laws that restricted firearm ownership that were instituted by Democrats that the NRA has been fighting for years, and now they know the fact that people are seeing it, people are agreeing with it. Trump would back it. It's time to move, and they are.
How do you know Trump's going to back it?
I mean, he spoke openly throughout his campaign about promoting the Second Amendment and believing in the citizens' right to protect themselves. That's sort of how his whole campaign is based on, is America needs to be able to protect itself.
Okay, but you don't think that was just for him to say, "Hey guys, like I believe in your cause, come vote for me."
Based on what he's
but
done
you
so
can't.
far,
have also
You
done
can't
that
say.
with the
You can't say
wall.
that.
Yeah,
He
he
could
said
have
about
also
the
done that
wall
with
and
the
the
wall with the
thing.
immigration bills.
Yeah, that's
He
why
could have
the
done that with a
Dow
lot
went
of
up.
things that he's come
Okay,
through
he could have
with.
also known that the immigration law was going to get shot down or the hold. I'm sorry.
Well, then why is he trying it again? I mean, even if he knew it's getting shot down, he's pushing for it. Based
Okay,
on what he's shown
see,
so far.
you're not seeing the behind the scenes though. He could just be kicking it there and be like, "Yeah, I'm going to push for it on social media because he's a fucking
No, he's
Twitter
doing
fiend."
it. He's doing it. He's doing it in the halls of government. It's not a front. Is the documentation in the news to prove it.
You don't understand what I'm saying, Mike.
Because there's that
He
behind
could
the
sit there. He could sit there and sign every document. He could sit there and make every tweet. But
it's
in
not.
reality,
The
he
tweets
could
don't
also be
matter.
sitting there with the same people who are going to make the decision and be like, "Hey, don't fucking pass the shit. I'm just trying to look good to the American people to get their fucking backing."
But
You
he's
can't act
not
like Trump's perfect either.
I'm not saying he's perfect, but that's not what is happening.
I don't know.
Based on what's happened so far,
You gotta
that is
think like
not
that.
how it's going. The whole thing is he's not one of them either. We've talked.
That's true. That's very true.
And so that's my big part. The other big part is a lot of people in Congress aren't one of them either now. We have a lot of newer faces. We have a lot of people that were against the whole globalist thing, that were a lot more about bringing it back into America. There's a lot more of an American first mentality going on in Washington. And just based on what he's done thus far, and again, you're right, there could be behind the scenes meetings we don't know about.
Well, I mean,
But
there is, but
right. But like on that sort of sense. But based on what's been happening, if there is, it doesn't seem to be this is all a con. If shit comes out that looks like that's what is happening, by all means, I'll say it. I'll say, you know what? Yeah, I was wrong. But based on what's happening so far, it seems like, you know, that this is what's happening. He's renegotiating NAFTA. He pulled us out of the Trans-Pacific Trade, or man, I'm blanking on the name. Like, he is going for what he said he would go for to put America first. So that's why I believe when he's saying the things about the gun laws and when people are pushing for these repeals and people in Congress are pushing for them as well, other Republicans, there's a firm belief that that is going to happen. Again, you would need to get it through certain liberal parts of it, and the judiciary system might be a bit of a hurdle, but more or less, it's the trying, as in with the immigration hold. He said he was going to do it. People said, "Oh, he could never do that. He could never build a wall." What's happened? The wall is on its way. The immigration thing, obviously, there's been
well, yeah. Don't
some
say
hurdles.
what's happened because the wall isn't built yet.
Right, but it's going, like, he's already accruing the funds for it. Like, that's what I'm saying is people said he wouldn't even try, and yet he's going through all the steps that is making it there. The reason it's not happening is because, yes, we have people on the left, is because there is two sides to politics in America that will sort of fight or hold back against it. If that didn't exist, I'm pretty sure the wall would already be being constructed and there wouldn't be a single international flight coming into the US. I mean, that's a bit of an extreme, but you know what I mean? Like, if there wasn't another side to it, all that would already be happening. I think it's just, It's that idea of, and this is what appealed to a lot of people, was America first. We need to stop focusing on other countries. We need to stop paying attention to the less than 1% of the country who's crying about how they feel as a gender. We
That's
need to
definitely
focus
not
on,
less than 1% of the country, but
but what I'm saying, these minority, small niche groups that don't really,
that's the thing. There's small niche groups, but there's so fucking many of them that
right,
they all are
and they
able
all
to come
band
together
together.
and have
Yeah.
one voice.
Yeah,
That's the thing. Like, yes, if you take individual groups,
right.
they're
And
a
yeah,
small majority. But when there's so many of them, they become a majority.
yeah. And I think
And
just the thing is, people, even people within different groups are fed up with that. Like there's certain sections, there's like black feminism versus just feminism, because people who think about feminism and the falsehoods of the gender wage gap, they're all like, but even white women make more than black women, even though all women make less than men. And it's like, are you serious? First of all, that's false.
Yeah.
But are you serious? You can't, if you're so about women empowerment, what skin color does that make? Save that for the Black Lives Matter riot at 12 o'clock. Like, let's focus on gender now, let's focus on race later. But even there is that divide of like, we're all feminists, but I'm a black feminist and you're a white feminist. So we're very different here. And I'm a Hispanic feminist, so like I also hate the wall. So fuck both of you. And it's like, and you see that starting to happen. Even at the Women's March, there were sort of the African American women marchers, and there were like white women marchers, and
where the
that
white
could
women
be
at?
nice. That I think could
Hey,
be
that's a movement I could get behind.
as a
Yeah,
moving
but
them
there is
hips
no behind
movement.
because they got no ass.
Ooh, bang
Hey, dude, white girls are making a
Oh,
comeback, dude. I'm
come on, bro.
telling
White
you.
white
girls
I'm
are making
telling
a
you.
comeback.
Bro,
Latina girls will always be
I've seen
like,
some nice cakes on white girls.
I don't give a
cake.
shit, bro. Latina girls will always be winning in my book.
Teen
Call me
girls, all right, fuck,
call
we're
me
getting really off
Poppy.
track.
I don't give a fuck, dude.
I say
Whatever
three
we
words
talk.
and we're talking about booty now.
Booty, booty, booty. I think what I was saying is that idea of sort of identities and demographics being against each other, if that continues to happen like it did with my example with the Women's March, you could see that being the end of even those, or not the end, but a significant hurt to those movements as well.
So, what do you feel about the idea of the parties flipping?
Like Republicans becoming more Democratic and Democrats becoming more
I
Republican.
mean,
Yeah,
it's hard. It's
because
happened in
it's
the
happened.
past.
That's
Yeah, it's
happened,
happened
yeah.
in the past. So, you think that's maybe what we're going through right now, you guys?
Maybe I think
I think when
I
you
would, yeah.
when you say the words Democrat and Republican, yes, but when you go like conservative, liberal, no.
Right,
Yeah.
because conservatism and liberalism are much more sort of economic standpoints, and I mean also policy, but obviously
Grab them.
the titles of Republican and Democrat can switch or fluctuate. Being a liberal or being a conservative are very much like this is what it is. Republicans are generally seen as the conservative party, Democrats the liberal party. That doesn't necessarily need to be true.
Yeah.
But Democrats are still being heavily liberal on the economic side of it with like socialism and hey, let's just throw money at people. It sounds like fun.
Oh, did you hear City College is going to be like the first free college?
City College?
City College in San Francisco.
Oh, no, I didn't.
I did hear about that.
How long are they going to
They're
last?
planning on making it the first free college.
How?
How are they gonna fund it?
I don't fucking know.
So I don't know,
I didn't
but
fucking read the article.
I'll take free
Shit.
college.
You think I'm educated or some shit?
Bernie
It's only
Sanders.
free because everyone is like when they sign up for welfare and they use the welfare money to buy books.
See, that wouldn't
Jesus
surprise
fucking
me. You
Christ.
scoff, but that would not surprise me at all. But like,
Jesus
yeah, you
Christ.
just have to like be disowned by your parents first so you can go get that welfare money and like starve yourself from 3 days to get some of them food stamps and then throw that money our way. And we'll get you into college.
That sounds about right, dude.
It's going to be UC Berkeley when federal funding gets cut.
Man, dude, that night was, you can watch the videos. It was insane. They were like throwing shit at people, knocking over those deployable lights, attacking police. It's like they don't understand that the anti-fascists are actual fascists. They're
They
doing
just
the,
need they just need fucking you see all these liberals like with their violent protests and shit. They just need some Republicans to ride through and just be like, "This shit, what's good?
Yeah.
Fucking get it popping."
No, if
Dude,
Republicans did, they'd get fucking like mob tagged.
Yeah, if you wore like a "Make America Great Again" hat, you're gonna get fucking mugged. Maybe even,
Bitch, say I won't.
You
I
won't.
mean, you'd have to own one of those hats first. But go ask.
I will buy one of those hats. The
No, you
next
won't.
so-called peaceful protest.
Go ask
If
our
I'm
buddy
not
Ben
working,
to loan you
I will
his.
go there and I will
Hey, there's the
interview
key. There's the
people.
key. If I'm not working,
Yeah, see, but to not work, you'd have to be a liberal. So like, that's why they're all there. 'Cause they don't have
No,
a
Yeah,
that's
job.
so if
that's what
it's a
I'm saying.
weekend,
Oh, that's gonna be his excuse. Is I'm an actual man, so I'm employed, so I can't go to these riots. I mean, I agree with
no,
that.
Yes.
Mike, I will do it.
Okay.
That's
You heard
what
it.
Dom, I love
You
you.
heard-
Please don't do
You
this.
heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. When Dominic dies, you know why. He
No,
got
let
shanked at a
us know if you
riot.
want me to do this. Next peaceful protest, quote unquote peaceful
Yeah,
protest,
heavy
I
air
will
quotes.
show up in a fucking Make America Great
He's
Again
gonna get
hat.
shot.
And I will interview
He's
motherfuckers.
gonna get shot so
I don't give a
fucking
fuck.
quick. Clearly, you have a death wish or something. Are you okay? You want to talk about something, dude? Like,
Bruh, VC bet. Say I won't. I'm down.
I am lightweight
BC
scared for
bet.
you.
Hey guys, that's a new thing. It's a BC bet. All the kids are saying it.
All the kids.
Yeah, all the kids
all
are saying
the
it now.
millennials are saying it now.
No.
No.
I swear to God, I'll do it. If we could put that, we could use that for our podcast. We could use that on the website. We could
I'd
definitely
like
do that.
to get you to invest in a bulletproof vest. And maybe
I'll bring like a
security
Mexican or
guard.
something to make it. Seem
I'll
like
bring
he's
a
doing it too.
Mexican. You know what? I'm gonna put him in chains
Bring
and throw
a
a sombrero
Mexican.
on him, dude. Really complete the picture. So I
You already
really
know.
get
I'll bring
shot.
Oso.
I'll bring Oso. I'll make him wear like a fucking sombrero.
Oh, dude, I'll bring a black dude. That'd be way better. I'll bring Torres.
Yeah, that black dude's gonna
How about a
turn
black
on you.
Mexican
Oh
or a
my
black dude that
God,
can speak
Josh.
Spanish?
Perfect.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
How about a black woman who can speak Spanish? There, you're
How about a
golden.
trans black woman that can speak Spanish?
How about a trans black lesbian woman that can speak Spanish?
Also Muslim.
Yeah, wearing a turban.
Yes.
Oh,
You'll be
She can-
fine.
she can also speak Allah Akbar.
Yeah. Should bring a
Just in
goat,
case
too.
shit gets hot.
Yeah, just guess you could say explosive.
Not as hot as thermite.
It's
Huh?
terrible.
anyone?
You're fucking garbage.
Anyone?
Yeah, guys, jet fuel can't melt steel beams, everybody.
No, that's not what I was getting at.
Thermite isn't they blow themselves up? Like that was the other one.
Someone get me a Make America Great Again dad hat, and I swear to God, I'll do
Just
it.
ask
Why can't
Ben
you do
for
it? You have a
his.
job.
Yeah,
I
actually, you were
know,
just
I'm
talking
just
about
too
your job.
lazy.
But you have a job. How are you lazy?
Because
Do you know what he does all day?
Jacks off in the back of a truck.
Pretty much, dude. That's
Yeah.
pretty much my. And then I pick up Mexicans from Home Depot,
Damn, dude.
and we all build shit. We
That's
build the wall.
racist. That's what you
See,
should
but
do.
I think that's another thing too. Is they take comedy out of everything. Like you can't even be funny and racist anymore. It's just like,
Yeah. Well, that's the
I
thing.
mean,
dude.
like
When
it
you
wasn't
talk
really okay to begin with.
yes,
Hey,
it was.
Fuck you, faggot.
Yes, it was. No, it definitely was.
As
There
long
was
as
a
it's not
point in
being-
time
as
where
long
you
as it's
could
not
make
being
racist
directly
jokes
racist.
as long as they were funny. You can't say fucking the N word. You can't be like, stupid neighbor. Like, but you know, you could still
Yeah.
make racist funny jokes. You could still make a joke about a black dude liking watermelon or like
without being
a
racist.
white chick having no ass.
Without
Fucking,
being actually. Oh, you can still make jokes about white people though, dude. It's all cool. Like that's
oh
the
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, fuck white people.
Is you can't. Yeah, fuck white people.
Yeah.
Black power.
Mhm. BLM.
Yeah, BLM.
Cool.
Fuck men too, dude. Gender
God,
wage gap.
misogynistic pigs.
Yeah, dude.
Hate
Men
them.
are the
So-
worst.
Yeah, my
That's
beta
what-
male.
I'm just
ass.
gonna surround myself with women now. Men are just the worst.
Yeah, you know what kind of women you're gonna pick up at a fucking women's march? Yeah, good
Trans,
luck.
lesbian, Muslim.
You're a lot of
Mike, why don't you
hairy-
tell us about trans
a lot
women?
of hairy people. They're wonderful. They're friends.
Because he
Fucking
fucked a
home.
tranny.
But I didn't though. You guys are fucking homos, eh? I fucking hate you. You're assholes.
Oh my god, let us know if you guys want to hear about that. That
Oh my
That'd be a
Me and
fun
Dom will
god.
have
story.
our own separate segment.
That'd be a fun
Did
story to
the
tell,
all lies. You guys are all.
Samantha.
You guys are garbage. Samantha, what?
oh, nothing.
All right. Does anyone else have anything to say about the racial
Dom,
divide?
you know.
Or has it officially deteriorated into bullshit?
No, dude. No,
All
I just
right.
have The New Divide stuck in my head by Linkin Park.
You're so gay.
Hey,
All
bitch,
right.
it's catchy.
All right.
You know what else is catchy?
Transformers.
Robots and
Chlamydia.
discount.
I see what you did there.
On that note, thank you guys for listening. My name is Michael.
I'm Justin. Fuck you, Dominic.
And I'm Chlamydia.
We'll see you guys next time on Grab 'em by the Pussy.